Okay, so we start with the third part of this chapter. So welcome back. So in the previous video, the second video, we had finished till where the American comes and stands near the white horse and asks Muni from where do they paint the or bring such vibrant and bright colors to paint the horse. Muni, now assured that the subject was still the horse and not the dead body, said, "This is our guardian. It means death to our adversaries. At the end of Kali Yuga, this world and all other worlds will be destroyed, and the Redeemer will come in the shape of a horse called Kalki. This horse will come into life and gallop and trample down all the bad men." So, according to the Hindu mythology, when there will be a lots of sinners, or when people will do a lots of sin, at that time in the Kali Yuga, Lord Kalki will come into incarnation, and then he will be sitting on such a horse, and this horse will start galloping. Now when he looks at the American talking about the horse, he says, "This is our guardian. It means death to all our bad times or the tragic end." At the end of Kali Yuga, Lord Kalki will come into existence. He will come into life, and he will sit on such a big horse, and this horse will gallop in the air, and he will kill all the sinners, all the bad men. When he was brooding on this pleasant vision, the foreigner utilized the pause to say, "I assure you that this will have the best home in the USA. I'll push away the bookcase. You know I love books, and I'm a member of 5 book clubs, and the choice and bonus volumes mount up to pile really in our living room as high as this horse itself. But they'll have to go. Ruth may disapprove, but I will convince." Muni continued his description of the end of the world. So now this American was not understanding, and he says, "I assure you, I will take this horse with lots of care, and you know I love books, and I in my book, and I'm a member of 5 book clubs, and in my living room the books have been piled up till this high as the horses. But then I assure you, I'll remove all the books and give place to this horse. Ruth may not agree, she may disapprove, but then I will convince her." Muni continued his description of the end of the world. "Our Pandit discoursed at the temple once how the oceans are going to close over the earth in a huge wave and swallow us. This horse will grow bigger than the biggest wave and carry on its back only good people and kick into the floods the evil ones. Plenty of them about," he said reflectively. "Do you know when it is going to happen?" he asked. Muni continued with Kalki and Kalki avatar. He said, "Our Pandit discourse मतलब सरमन करना, या अपने प्रवचन में सत्संग में बताया था, at the temple he heard in a sermon by a Pandit that once how the oceans are going to close over the earth. That means we'll have very very huge oceans going to cover whole of the earth, and bigger than the largest wave this horse will grow, and then it will make sit only the good people on its back, and it will kill all the Kalki god will kill all the sinners and the bad people." Then he asked the American, "Do you know when is this going to happen?" The foreigner now understood by the tone of the other that a question was being asked, and said, "I'm not a millionaire, but a modest businessman. My trade is coffee." The foreigner now understood that he is asking me something in a question. "Do you know when is this going to happen?" So he says, "See, I am not a very rich man. I'm not a millionaire. I'm a modest businessman, and I trade in coffee." Amidst all this wilderness and obscure sound, Muni caught the word coffee and said, "If you want to drink kapi, drive further up in the next town. They have Friday market, and there they open kapi kettles." So I learned from passers-by. So out of these talks, he could understand only one word, that is coffee. So he said, "Okay, you want to drink coffee? You can go to the neighboring town. There they set a Friday market, and then from the passers-by I have come to know that there are some coffee hotels." That means Muni had never been able to have coffee since he was very poor, but he knows that some passers-by told him that there are coffee hotels in the next town. The foreigner said, "I repeat, I am not a millionaire, Ours is a modest business. After all, we can't afford to buy more than 60 minutes of TV time in a month, which works out to 2 minutes a day. That's all. Although in the course of time, we will maybe sponsor a 1 hour show regularly if our sale graph continues to go up. So if the foreigner says, see, I'm telling you again, I'm not a very rich businessman, mine is a modest business, and maybe with the passage of time we may be able to advertise more, and so we may be able to earn more money. So I am not very rich, I'm again telling you. Then the visitor, feeling that he had spent too much time already, said, tell me, will you accept 100 rupees or not for this horse? Now the foreigner thought ki it's simply wasting of time. Then he says, okay, tell me one thing. Will you accept 100 rupees for this horse or not? I'd love to take the whiskered soldier also, but no space for him this year. I'll have to cancel my air ticket and take a boat home, I suppose. Ruth can go by air if she likes, but I will go with the horse and keep him in my cabin all the way if necessary. Then he says, see, I would, along with this horse, I will carry this whiskered soldier also with me. But then for that, I will have to cancel my air ticket. And I'll have to book one ship in which I will have to carry this whiskered soldier and the horse. Ruth may go by air if she wishes to go by aeroplane, she may go. But then I will keep him with me in my cabin in my ship. And he smiled at the picture of himself voyaging across the seas, hugging this horse. And then he just thought ki how I will hug this horse and keep it safe, not to allow it to fall, and how he will be voyaging in the sea. He added, I'll have to pad it with straw so that it doesn't break. So he says that I'll have to cover it with some soft material so that the horse does not shake and does not break. I have my station wagon, as you see. I can push the seat back and take the horse in if you will just lend me a hand with it. Then he says, see, this is my station wagon and I will push the seat aside and I can keep this horse inside my car. If you lend me a hand, if you help me. Lend me a hand and I can lift off the horse from its pedestal after kicking out the cement at the joints. We can do anything if we have a basis of understanding. Then he says, okay, just help me in removing this cement from this horse, and then we can shift it in my car. Anything is possible if there is a understanding. At this stage, the mutual mystification was complete. Mystification, confusion. And there was no need even to carry on a guessing game at meaning of words. The old man chattered away in a spirit, balancing of the credits and debits of the conversational exchange, and said in order to be on the credit side, O honorable one, I hope God has blessed you with numerous progeny. I say this because you seem to be a good man, willing to stay beside an old man and talk to him, while all day I have none to talk except when somebody stops by to ask for a piece of tobacco. But I seldom have it. Tobacco is not what it is used to be at one time, and now I have given up chewing. I cannot afford it nowadays. Noting that the other's interest in his speech, Muni felt encouraged to ask, how many children do you have? With appropriate gestures with his hands, realizing that a question was being asked, the red man replied, I said 100, which encouraged Muni to go into details. How many of your children are boys and how many girls? Where are they? Is your daughter married? It is difficult to find a son-in-law in your country also. So now Muni was very confused, and then he says, you are such a gentle man that you find time to talk with such a small person like me, because here nobody talks with me. Sometimes passerbys come and they ask for tobacco, but these days I don't have even tobacco. I've stopped chewing tobacco. And then he says, okay, you seem to be blessed with a number of children. How many children do you have? So then he says, how many children do you have? Then the American says, 100. I will give you 100 rupees for this horse. And says, okay, out of those children, how many are girls and how many are boys? How many are married? Is your daughter married? In your country also, it is difficult to find a proper match for a girl. In answers to these questions, the red man dashed his hand into his pocket and brought forth his wallet in order to take immediate advantage of the bearish trend in the market. He flourished a 100 rupee currency note and said, well, this is what I meant. So not trying to understand what Muni said, he was not able to understand. The American removed the wallet from his pocket, and then he removed 100 rupee note and said, I mean this. The old man now realized that some financial element was entering their talk. He peered closely at the currency note, the like of which he had never seen in his life. He had never seen 100 rupee note in his life. He knew the 5 and the 10 by their colors. He had seen 5 rupee notes, he had seen 10 rupee notes. He could distinguish them because of the color, from the colors. Although always in other people's hand. He had never touched a 5 rupee or 10 rupee note with his own hands. He had seen it in other people's hand. While his own earning at any time was in coppers and nickels, sikke, coins में उसके पास पैसे हुआ करते थे once upon a time. What was this man flourishing the note for now? Why is this man showing me 100 rupee note? Perhaps asking for a change. Okay, he must be wanting for change. He laughed to himself at the notion of anyone coming to him for changing 1,000 or 1,000 rupee note. He said with a grin, ask our village headman, who is also a money lender. He can change even 1,00,000 of rupees in gold sovereigns if you prefer it that way. He thinks nobody knows, but dig the floor of his puja room and your head will reel in the sight of the horde. The man disguises in rags just to mislead the public. Talk to the headman yourself because he goes mad at the sight of me. Someone took away his pumpkins with the creepers and he, for some reason, thinks it was me and my goats. That is why I never let my goat be seen anywhere near the farms. His eyes travel to his goats, nosing about, attempting to wrest nutrition from the minute greenery peeping out of the rock and dry earth. So when he sees 100 rupee note, he says, okay, you want a change. See, I am a poor man. How will I give you a change? You go to the village headman. He has a lots of money. He can even exchange with gold and silver. He is such a rich man. He is disguising himself in old clothes and torn clothes to misguide people, to mislead people that he is a poor man. But if you just see his puja room, if you dig his puja room, your head will grin. He has kept so much of wealth under it. But you go yourself and ask for the change, because if he sees me, he will go mad. You know, he is blaming me and my goats because his pumpkins got stolen. But my goats and I did not do anything. Then he looked at his goats who were trying to nibble out the piece of grass from the rocks and the stones. The foreigner followed his look and decided that it would be a sound policy to show an interest in the old man's pets. He went up casually to him and stroked their backs with every show of courteous attention. Now the truth dawned on the old man. His dream of the lifetime was about to be realized. He understood that the red man was actually making an offer for the goats. So the American thought, ki, acha, he is telling me something about his goats, so I should go and pet him so that he feels good. So the American went and started petting the goats. Now Muni thought, acha, he is offering me this 100 rupee note because he wants to buy my goats. Now look at the confusion. He had reared them up in the hope of selling them someday, and with the capital opening a small shop on this very spot. And Muni had a dream that I will sell these goats, and with the capital amount that I get, I will open a shop at this very place where he was right now. Sitting here watching towards the hills, he had often dreamt how he would put up a thatched roof here, spread a gunny sack out on the ground, and display on fried nuts, colored sweets, and green coconut for the thirsty and famished wayfarers on the highway, which was sometimes very busy. And he had dreamt कि यहाँ पर मैं एक बोरा बिछा लूँगा और एक thatched roof बना के उसके कुछ चीज़ें, कुछ dried nuts बेचूँगा, colored sweets, and हरा नारियल, green coconut for the thirsty and tired travelers. The animals were not prized once for a cattle show, but he had spent his occasional savings to provide them some fancy diet now and then, and they did not look too bad. अब अंदाजा लगा उनकी बकरियों का हाल क्या होगा. But he says कि animals were not like उनको किसी हाट में ले जाके उनको शो कर सकता है कि बेचने के लिए, जैसे कि ईद के टाइम मुस्लिम्स ले जाते हैं ना बड़े बड़े बकरों को, तो ऐसे तो नहीं है. cannot take them to the market to show them. but sometimes I have also offered them good food and they are not too bad. While he was reflecting thus, the radman shook his hand and left on his palm 100 rupees in tens now. Now the foreigner thought he does not want to take one note, so he gave him 10 rupees note in matlab change he put on his palm, and he suddenly realizing that this was what the old man was asking. He thought that he was asking for change, not 100 rupee note. It is all for you, or you may share it if you have a partner. So this much I think is enough for this horse. Or you have a partner. If there are two partners who are the who authorize this horse, you can give it to your partner as well. The old man pointed at the station wagon and asked, "Are you carrying them off in that?" The old man pointed at the station wagon. उसने बोला, ये बकरियों को तुम इसमें ले जाओगे, वैगन में, अपनी गाड़ी में ले जाओगे? Yes, of course, said the other, understanding the transportation part of it. So he thought कि आप horse इसमें ले जाओगे. So American said, yes, of course, I will carry this horse in my car. The old man said, this will be their first ride in the motor car. मेरी बकरियां पहली बार मोटर कार में बैठ के जाएंगी. So this will be the first ride for them in the motor car. Carry them off after I get out of sight. No, in front of me, they will not go with you. So once I go away, then you carry them inside your car. Otherwise, they will never follow you. But only me, even if I am traveling on the path to Yamlok. These goats are so fond of me. Even if I die and go to Yamlok, they will follow me there also. So let me go away first. Then you carry them in your wagon and then you can take them away. He laughed at his own joke, brought his palms together in a salute, turned round and went off, and was soon out of sight beyond a clump of thicket. Now you see, this man, American, was thinking that he has gone to call some other people who can help me carry this horse into my wagon. This Muni says, let me go away, then only you can carry these goats with you, otherwise they will follow me wherever I go. Even if I die and go to Yamlok, they will follow me there. So he runs away. The red man looked at the goats grazing peacefully. Now the red man was looking at the goats, they were grazing peacefully. Perched on the pedestal of the horse as the westerly sun touched off the ancient faded colors of the statue, with a fresh splendor, he ruminated. He must be gone to fetch some help, I suppose. The American thought that he has gone to call some other people who can help me carry this horse into the wagon, and settled down to wait. So he also sat down to wait Muni to return with some more people. When a truck came downhill, he stopped it and got the help of a couple of men to detach the horse from its pedestal and place it in his station wagon. But Muni never returned back, so the one truck was going. So this American called some people, they all helped him detach the horse and keep it in the wagon. He gave them 5 rupees each, and for a further payment, they siphoned off gas from the truck and helped him to start his engine. So he offered them 5 rupees for helping him. So in return, those people gave him fuel, that is petrol, so that he could move his wagon. Muni hurried homeward with the cash securely tucked away in his waist in his dhoti. मुनि ने वो पैसा अपनी धोती में अच्छे से टक करके रखा था. He had never seen so much money in his life. So he had secured it tightly in his dhoti and he went home. He shut the street door and stole up softly to his wife, who, as she squatted before the lit oven, wondering if by a miracle food would drop from the sky. Now the wife was sitting there near the chula, and she was thinking, what will I cook today? If by any miracle I get something to cook today. There was nothing in store, so she was simply sitting there very sad. So Muni went near her. Muni displayed his fortune for the day, and Muni showed her the money. She snatched the notes from him, counted them by the glow of the fire, and cried, 100 rupees! How did you come by it? Have you been stealing? So now she took the money from Muni, and the fire she was burning in the chula, she counted in that light, and she counted and said, 100 rupees. From where did you get this money? You have stolen somebody? I have sold our goats to a red-faced man. He was absolutely crazy to have them. Gave me all his money and carried them off in his motor car. Arey, I have sold our goats to a American. You know, he was so crazy to buy them. I sold them to him and he has taken them away in his motor car. Hardly had these words left his lips when they heard bleating outside. So hardly had he finished his talk, then the bleating of the goats could be heard outside. She opened the door and saw the two goats at her door. Here they are, she said. What's the meaning of all this? So what she did, she said, now the goats are here. What do you mean to say? From where have you brought this money you have been stealing? He muttered a great curse and seized one of the goats by its ears and shouted, where is that man? Don't you know you are his? Why did you come back? So now Muni said, Arey, why did you come back here? He snatched one of the ears of the goats and said, why did you come back here? Now you are not mine, you belong to that American. You don't know you should be with him. Why did you come back? The goat only wriggled in its grips. The goat ने ऐसे करके अपना कान छुटा दिया. He asked the same question to the other two, and he did the same thing with the other goat. Why did you come back? You should have gone with the American. The goat shook itself off. The goat ने भी अपना उसका हाथ हटा दिया. His wife glared at him and declared, if you have thieved, the police will come tonight and break your bones. Don't involve me. I will go to my parents. So the wife, she said, she glared at him. She looked at him sternly and she declared, see, if you have stolen from somebody, police is going to come tonight and will be arresting you, and there in the jail, the police will break all your bones. Don't involve me in this thievery. Okay? I will leave you and go to my parents' house. So this is where we finish the story, and then that's all for this story.